Okay, so now that we have our microscope slide ready to go, we're going to go ahead and read our fecal flotation. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn on our microscope. We'll make sure we have our slide in correctly. When you start off, you want to start off in the scanning lowest power. Go ahead and take off my glasses. You just want to make sure everything is kind of in focus. Really what we're going to use to scan for ova is we're going to move up to the 10 power, the low power. And when you look for things on a microscope, you want to go in kind of a nice little zigzag pattern. I'll kind of show you what I mean. And the reason you do that is you want to make sure you cover the entire slide, but you also don't want to go over stuff that you've already been over. So when I look, I kind of go... So I kind of go in like that sort of pattern, if that kind of helps at all. So I'll go ahead and I'll look for any signs of ova. Get this nice and centered. So far I see a lot of debris. I see some hair. I'm definitely seeing some air bubbles. Sometimes air bubbles can be mistaken for ova, but they look similar, but they're actually not. So it's good to know what those look like. Okay, now that we've reached the end of this row, or whatever line, whatever you want to call it, you're going to barely scoot over, and then you're going to go up back the slide the exact same way. I see another strand of hair. Now that we've reached, we're going to again go over just slightly, and we're going to read the slide back down. At the end, we're going to move over slightly, and then we're going to go back down. I'm not seeing anything so far. If I did see something, you can always move up to the 40 power. The high and dry lens, and you could kind of verify. The other thing I always do is if I do feel like I see something, I always have somebody double check me. We want to make sure we treat appropriately and I'm not looking at the wrong thing, so I always have somebody double check. Lots of air bubbles. I'm just kind of using the focus knob here to kind of bring things into focus a little bit better occasionally. I do see a single circular object in the middle. I'm just going to move up to our 40 power and take a better look at it. I suspect it's just a big air bubble. Yep, just a big air bubble. But it did look kind of suspicious, so I just made sure to just kind of double check myself. It's a little too uniform, and it doesn't look like a typical ova. From a further away distance it does, but once you look at it a little bit closer you can clearly see it's just an air bubble. We're almost to the end of our slide here. Okay, and I'm kind of on my last row here. I haven't seen anything so far, but that doesn't mean you should stop. You should always read the entire slide. Okay. Okay, so we have now completed reading the entire slide. I did not see any signs of obvious ova. We always should have a second person, a veterinarian, double check though. One thing you would want to do while reading any kind of cytology is if you did see a number of parasites or cells or anything like that, you'd always want to write it per high power field. So if I saw 5 or so ova in a high power field as I was scanning, I would jot that down. And if that was pretty consistent throughout the whole slide, you could then report to your veterinarian, hey, I saw 5 toxicari per high power field, or I saw 1, or I saw two numbers to count per high power field. So that's kind of a good, it kind of puts into perspective just how severe the infection is.